Hello everybody. Ayan, nice meeting you again. Ayan, today. And welcome to my channel. Hello. This time, I'll be sharing to you about the basic sentence patterns in English. Let's go. So here we are. To know and study about the basic sentence pattern in English, rules and structures that we must know. So the basic sentence patterns in English, the rules and the instructions that we know. So we have to listen to this. When I was still studying in my primary years, understanding the basic sentence pattern in English always drives me crazy. I don't know why, but this English grammar lesson often gives me a sudden headache. As an English learner, I find it very difficult to comprehend the rules, not to mention the confusing explanation was given to us by my teacher. However, when I began my TOEIC training at QQ English with our grammarians from the United Kingdom, I realized this lesson is only a piece of cake. I got really amazed by how our native English trainer simplified everything to us, and I think it would be best to share what I have learned from them with you. All right. So he is sharing to us about his experience about in English that he was not able to understand before, and for him before it was really difficult. So but now he is sharing this to us. In English grammar, there are five basic sentences or sentence types you need to be familiar with. But before we proceed to the main topic, let us first review the importance of a sentence and the elements we can find within it. Previously, we considered English sentence as the most necessary tool for communication. Why? Because a person's ability to write and speak effectively depends on how good they are at forming sentences. Meanwhile, it would be more difficult to understand the basic sentence pattern in English if you are not familiar yet with the basic sentence structure in English. So you better learn this first for you to comprehend this topic more as easily. So here we go. The basic elements of a sentence. A sentence has two basic elements, which are the subject and the predicate. So when you say the subject, it is always a noun, a pronoun, or a group of words acting as a noun. It is what the entire sentence is about. Meanwhile, the predicate contains a verb that describes the subject, and take note, verbs do not always have to be action verbs. Lastly, subjects and predicates can be either simple or compound. As the meaning of the sentence is, a sentence is a group of words that usually contain a subject and a verb and expresses a complete idea. So in Filipino, meaning to say, bumubuo siya ng mayroon siyang ang pangungusap ay isang grupo ng mga salita na may buong diwa. So alinman sa dalawa ang wala, either the subject or the predicate, ayan ay hindi natin masasabing sentence. Let's proceed. The subject is a noun. Noun phrases or pronoun that usually comes before the main verb. It is also represents the person or thing that acts the verb or about which something is stated. Verb, on the other hand, is a word or group of words that describes an action or state. While a transitive verb has an object, so we are going now to the transitive and intransitive. So let's understand what is transitive and what is intransitive. Again, a transitive verb has an object. So take note of that. It has an object, while an intransitive verb does not have an object. So let's see in the following examples, the subjects are in bold, while the predicates are italicized. So you can see grandma is awake. So grandma is the subject written in bold, and then is awake is the predicate that is written in italic. He makes cakes and cookies. Alright, he is the subject. Makes cakes and cookies is the predicate. Aside from the subject and predicate, sentence also contain objects. We have two kinds of objects in English grammar, the direct and indirect object. All right. So a direct object refers to the person or thing affected by the action of the verb. Like this one, he bought a ball. So the direct object there is the ball. While this one, an indirect object, usually refers to the person who benefits from the action of the verb. So let's use again the example. He bought her a ball. Alright, so it's really clear that a ball was bought for her. So her is the indirect object. Now, additionally, we have the complement, which is a complement tells us something about the nature of the subject or object. There are two types of complements, the subject complement and the object complement. When you say subject complement, like this one, she is happy. So you can see, or it's very clear, the subject and the complement. Now, while this one is object complement, when you say object complement, the example is like this: he made her happy, as the object complement. All right. So, and lastly, we have the modifier. A modifier is a word of a group of words that modifies another word or group. Now we're done with this recap. It is time to proceed to the lesson properly. So it is just an introduction. So the five basic sentence pattern in English, because our really the topic of the lesson that we have today is really about the basic sentence patterns in English. You might have not noticed that this one, but English sentences may present themselves in varying patterns. These patterns refers to the arrangement of refer to the arrangement of the elements of a sentence. It starts from the most basic to the most complex. As mentioned, there are five basic sentence patterns in English. Among them are the subject plus the linking verb plus the complement, or the SLVC. The other one is subject plus the intransitive verb plus the alright or the SIV. And then the third one is subject plus the intransitive verb plus the direct object or the STBDO. And then the next one is subject plus the transitive verb and the indirect object plus the direct object or the STBIODO. And then the next one is subject and the transitive verb plus the direct object and plus the object of the complement, or what we call the STVDOOC. So let's try it. In the number one, you can notice here that the subject plus the linking verb and complement is the first one, or the SLVC. The first basic sentence pattern in the English we have is the SLVC. This includes a subject, a linking verb, and a complement. Linking verbs are the types of verbs that join in the subject with an object or another noun. Some commonly used linking verbs include be, are, is, was, were, and seem. These are the linking verbs. Apart from linking verbs, we can also use sense verbs to make these types of sentence pattern. As a sense verb is a verb that describes one of the five senses like sight, hearing, smell, touch, and the taste. On the other hand, a subject complement is a word or a group of words that often follow a linking sentence verb or sense verb. Subjective complements can either be nouns, pronouns, or adjective. So let's consider the order of the subject, linking sense plus sense verb, and complements in the following sentences. She looks. In the sentence, she looks, you can notice that the subject here is she and the linking verb is look and the complementary word is happy. Let's go to the number two. Orange and yellow are bright colors. So the subject here is the orange and yellow, the linking verb is the are, and the complementary is the word bright colors. Then in number three, the food tastes bad. So the subject is the food, the linking verb is taste, and the complementary word is bad. So in the number two, which is the subject plus the intransitive verb or the SIV, when learning the basic sentence pattern, the SIV pattern is the simplest sentence type. It includes just a subject and an intransitive verb. Grammatically, intransitive verbs do not need a direct object. Unlike transitive verbs, verbs belonging to this type don't answer the question what. In most cases, dynamic and locomotive verbs or verbs that expresses movement belong to the sentence pattern. Also, this pattern uses verbs that are in the base form and doesn't need supporting information. This means that the thought of the sentence was already completed by the action of the verb. So below are the sample sentences with the SIV sentence pattern. Let's see. Let's check it out. So number one, she swims. Number two, the book fell. The three, Peter marches. Four, Peter sneezed. And the number five is evil exists. So this is a very simple example of the subject and the IV or the SIV. All right, SIV. Ayan. Transitive verb. So you will not notice here that the subject in the number one is she. The intransitive verb is swims, and the number two that the subject is the book, and the intransitive verb is fell. And number three, you will notice that the subject is Peter and the intransitive verb is marches. So in number four, the subject is Peter and the intransitive verb is sneeze. And then in the number five, the subject is evil and the intransitive verb is exist. Actually, the sentence pattern here, if you are trying to recall the past lessons that we had before about the tenses of verb, these examples 1 to 5 falls on the present tense. All right, that which is if your subject is singular, the verb should be with s, while if the subject is plural, the verb must be without s. So it seems to be similar to that, but a little bit similar only, but not exactly. But this is the SID pattern that we are talking. Then number three is the subject and the transitive verb plus the direct object or the STBDO. This time, let's move on to the third basic sentence pattern in the English way we all are familiar with, the STBDO pattern. This pattern includes a subject, a transitive verb, and a direct object. Here, we use transitive verbs, which means that we need a direct object. The trick here is to make sure our verb answers the questions what. Moreover, this pattern uses a verb that is in the S form, most especially the stative verbs and the STVDO pattern. Unlike the SIV pattern needs supporting information, especially the object pointed out in the sentence, which is the noun. So in the example sentences we have below, the subject, transitive verb, and the direct object are placed in a fixed order. So check it out. And number one, they are baking cookies and cakes. So the subject is they. The transitive verb are baking. All right. So next is yes, the direct object is cookies and cakes. Yes, for the number one. Then on the number two, the batter hit the ball. So the batter, which is the subject, and the transitive verb is hit, and the direct object is the ball. While in number three, she teaches English. She is the subject, transitive verb is teaches, and the direct object is English. Then a number four, which is the subject plus the transitive verb plus the direct indirect object and the direct object, or the STVIODO. Next in the list of basic sentence pattern is the STVIODO sentence. This type includes a subject, a transitive verb, an indirect object, and a direct object. If you have forgotten what indirect and direct objects are, so meaning to say in the sentence below, you'll notice that the subject, the transitive verb, and the direct object, indirect object rather, and the direct object are placed in the correct order. So let's see. Mary lent Josh money. So Mary is the subject, the transitive verb is lent, the IO is Josh, and the direct object is money. Let's go to the number two. Anna thought her, Anna thought her the answer. Alright, so Anna is the subject, transitive verb is thought, intransitive verb is her, and then the direct object is the answer. Number 3, he gave him the money. So he is the subject, transitive verb is gave, intransitive verb is him, and the direct object is the money. Interestingly, there are instances where the direct objects comes before indirect object in the sentence, and although some grammarians insist on its correctness, some consider the pattern acceptable in English. So instead of STBIODO, the pattern then becomes STVDOIO sometimes. For example, he gave him the money, which is the STBIODO pattern. And this one also, he gave the money to him, which is the STBDOIO. Alright, do you understand the difference? So check it out. And then for the number 5, the subject plus the transitive verb plus the direct object and the object complement, or the STVDOOC. The last basic sentence pattern we have in English is the STVDOOC sentence type. This sentence pattern includes subject, transitive verb, and direct object and an object complement. Unlike subject complements, object complements describe a direct object. Alright, the object complement in the sentence pattern refers to a specific description of the direct object being done by the subject. With the use of the verb, generally the OC in this pattern could be a noun, an adjective, or a verb. Check out these examples we have below. She called the boy attractive. She is the subject. Called is the transitive verb. Do is the direct object is the boy, and the object of the complement is attractive. Then let's not do the number 2. They painted the house blue. They is the subject. Painted is the transitive verb. The direct object is the house, and then the object of the complement is blue. So basic sentence patterns in English is important to learn. Important notes to learn. As you move forward in the learning English grammar, understanding the basic sentence patterns in English is essential. Although there are 10 sentence patterns in English, the 5 basic sentence patterns that we discuss are the most common. So they are the following. Again, as review, also as a recap of what we have discussed already above. So we have the number 1, subject plus linking verb plus complement, or the SLVC. For example, I am happy. That's one. And then the number 2, subject plus the intransitive verb, or the SIV. For example, horses run. Number 3, subject and transitive verb plus the direct object, or the STVDO. For example, Amy tutors Chris. Number 4, subject and transitive verb plus the indirect object plus the direct object, or the STVIODO. For example, the instructor assigned Steve poetry. And then the last one, which is the number 5, is the subject and transitive verb and the direct object complement, or the STVDOOC. For example, Mary considered Anna her friend. Alright, so just until here, and then if you have fully understood about the lesson, you have to pause for a while, and then review the lesson, and then try to make a sentence about the patterns that we discussed already. Write in your notes about it and check it out using the examples or the discussion that we have. Thank you. Now, that's all about the lesson and the sentence pattern. Now, if you fully understood about the lesson that I shared, please try to write down in your notes and then make a sentence using the patterns that we have studied here. And then if you are new in my channel, please subscribe and share this channel to others so that we may be able to reach them out using this channel. And tuloy matuto sila sa simple English na sinishare natin dito. Ayan. So, ayan. Have a pleasant day again to all of you. Thank you so much. Ayan. And that's all. And thank you for watching. Ayan. See you again the next time. Watch na and subscribe. Ayan, no? Hit the notification bell para ma-notify ka sa mga susunod kong videos. Bye-bye!